Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is FPL Elma. We're going to be going through my Game Week 12 team selection, my Game Week 11 team review, and it's been a long time since we had the Game Week 11 fixtures for the international break. But to be fair, this time it has been a very interesting international break because of the World Cup qualifiers. So I can't complain of the four of them being boring. Also going to go through some Game Week 12 transfer thoughts and transfer considerations, especially since we had the Gabriel news. We're going to talk about that as well. And also, we're going to talk about my some captaincy picks ahead of game 12 as well. So make sure you stay tuned for that at the end. But before we get into that, I'd like to thank all guys for the continued support on the channel. Currently 10 to 12 subscribers away from 900. That will be the dream before the end of the month. So if you're new around here and not yet subscribed, or if you're a regular viewer and not yet subscribed, make sure you hit that sub button, make sure you leave a like, hit that bell, don't miss any content going up on the channel, and also leave a comment in the comment section telling me your rank before Game Week 12 begins. And without wasting any much time, let's get straight into it. So first, I'm going to start off with my Game Week 11 team review. I managed to score 49 points, from my overall points 646, and a slight green arrow of around 400k from 1.5 million to 1.1 million. So all in all, very good Game Week 11 for me. Not many people managed to get above the average. I think I was among the very few, and I'm going to absolutely take that. And hope that Game Week 12 is going to be something similar. So we had Pope in goal, managed to score 3 points. I think he was subbed off before Brentford went on a route, so very grateful for that. So 3 points for him. Then we had Chalobah with 6 points, keeping a clean sheet for Chelsea. Timber and Gabriel each got 1 point, conceding 2 goals to Sunderland in a very exciting game that was. Saka managed to score a goal, so 12 points. Also picked up the bonus points. Semenyo missed a penalty, it was unfortunate. Sarr and Minte both blanked, but they managed to get 3 points because of the clean sheet. The game ended nil. Then we had Haaland with 8 points. He missed a penalty, very unfortunate for that. And then he scored a goal, so he got -2, but we'll take the 8 points nevertheless. Then we had Voltemado got an assist for 5 points. And Joe Pedro was the star of the team this game week in a surprising turn of events. Managed to score a goal for 7 points. And on the bench, Dubravka, Semenyo, Longstaff, and Rodon all blanked. So, yeah, all in all, a very good game week for me because of just the green arrow. But I do hope for game week 12 can be able to get something a little bit better. So now let's look at game week 12 has in store for us. So first, I'm going to start off with the transfer thoughts ahead of game week 12. I have three transfers, and so I'm considering using all of them to make this particular transfer. The first transfer is, of course, Gabriel to Van Dijk. News coming out that Gabriel is going to be out for around 4 to 6 weeks, so I think it's only right to transfer him out. A lot of options out there, but I'm just going to go for the boring and safe option and just get in Virgil van Dijk. Very good fixtures coming up for Liverpool. They'll be very strong defensively this season, but I think the fixtures coming up, there's a high chance of maybe cheeky attacking return as well. They're going to be playing Forest, West Ham, Sunderland, and Leeds in their next four. So I do expect a couple of clean sheets in those ones. And I do hope that he's going to be able to get clean sheets as well and also get some attacking returns. That's the first transfer I'm thinking about. And let's look at the second transfer as well. Second transfer I'm thinking of doing is Senesi to Chris Richards. I just think that Senesi has lost that kind of form that he had at the beginning, and I think 5 million is a little bit expensive as well. I think it's better to go for a cheaper alternative so that we're able to get some funds in the team. And I'm going to explain in a few minutes why I need the funds in the team. And I think Chris Richards at 4.5 million differential pick at the moment at only around 3.5% ownership. I think is a very decent option. And I think it's also a decent option if you want a Gabriel replacement. I've made a video out about that, so I'm going to put it maybe in the top right corner. So make sure you check out that as well if you want to. If you're struggling with some Gabriel replacements, I've got you covered as always. So yeah, so Senesi to Richard the second transfer I'm thinking about. Just like the figure that Crystal Palace have, and they're going to play Wolves, United, Burnley, and Fulham in their next four. So a lot of clean sheet potential there, and it's also a DEFCON beast. And if it's a cheaper way to get into that Crystal Palace defense, since the other people from Crystal Palace are very much expensive, so I just prefer having Chris Richards in there. He's going to be playing each game because of the structure of Crystal Palace with the back three or a back five. Yeah, you can say. So yeah, so that's the second transfer I'm thinking about. And let's look at the third transfer. And then the third and final transfer I'm thinking of doing is Volte Made to Mateta. Of course, Volte Made has been a decent pickup. I think he's picked up like around I'd say around 10 or to 12 points, give or take points since I bought him in a while. But Newcastle have not been firing at all in all cylinders, performing in the Champions League but not in the Premier League. And I think it's only right to go for Mateta at this moment in time. Very good fixtures coming up. Is the informed striker at the moment in the league, maybe alongside someone like Thiago. But I do like having Mateta in there, and it's of course I think I'm going to be bringing him in. That's why I need the funds from the Senesi to reach out the transfer that I can be able to bring in Mateta. Because last week I was a little bit fixed out, priced out, so it was not possible for me to be able to do that transfer. And I saved that, and it's a blessing in disguise because now Gabriel is injured. I can be able to plan pre Mateta with just Gabriel funds as well. So it's the final transfer I'm thinking of doing to Mateta. I'm not the biggest Mateta fan this season. I don't think we're performing really, really well, but I'm hoping that can be able to bring in some good points, especially against the likes of Wolves and Burnley. So that's the my final transfer. Now, those transfers in mind, let's look at my game 12 team selection. After making all those transfers, three to be precise, we're going to this how the team is going to be looking like. Going to be having Pope in there against Man City. Not the ideal fixture to have Nick Pope. At least it's good to learn that he's going to be fit. He's been past fit from his concussion injuries. Will going to be available for the Man City game. So just hoping for some save points in there because Newcastle have been keeping a lot of clean sheets, so I'm just hoping for some save points in there. Then we have Chaloba against Burnley. I was hoping for a clean sheet in that fixture. Burnley haven't been scoring a lot of goals. They've been very poor in front of goal. And maybe a cheeky corner goal as well from Chaloba. It's been a while since he got an attacking return. But really won't be too greedy and we'll just take the clean sheet from that. Then we have Richards against Wolves. Also hoping for a clean sheet. We don't know the situation about Gehi at the moment, so maybe they're going to be a weaker defense. But I do hope that Richards can be able to put maybe able to pick up some good DEFCON points as well. Then finishing off the defense, we're going to be having Virgil van Dijk, who's the second of the transfers. I'm going to bring him playing against Forest. By the way, been looking very good in front of goal, and I do hope that against Liverpool, that Virgil van Dijk and his team can be able to keep a clean sheet and maybe goal as well in the other end because Nottingham Forest tend to concede a lot from set pieces as well. So I do hope that Van Dijk can be able to potentially maybe get a goal or an assist. So that's the team for Game Week 12. That's the defense rather for Game Week 12. Looks pretty solid and able to be able to keep a clean sheet across the board and if hope maybe just some save points will be very much appreciated. So that's the defense. And let's look at the midfield. This is how the midfield is going to be looking like ahead of game week 12. We're going to be having Saka in there against Spurs. Very tough fixture for Arsenal, of course, but I do hope that Saka can be able to carry the form from the Euros, from the World Cup qualifier, where he had a very good couple of games, and also from game week 11, where he managed to score a goal against Sunderland. Hope he will carry that form into this Spurs fixture. Of course, a North London derby, anything can happen in that fixture, but I do hope that Saka can be able to perform. Then you have Semenyo against West Ham. West Ham picking up a little bit of momentum at the moment, so it's going to be a tough fixture for Bournemouth, who I think have lost back-to-back games. If I'm not wrong, I think they lost to Man City and lost to Aston Villa. So a little bit of off form, and of course Semenyo is a little bit injured. We don't know his situation at the moment. Almost likely that he did not appear in any training photos for Bournemouth. Will be interesting to see what is going to be happening there. But against West Ham, who have been very poor defensively this season, I expect that if Semenyo plays, he can be able to perform and be able to get an attacking return. Maybe this time he gets a penalty, can be able to score as well. Then the next player is going to be Sar, who has been a shocking by after the World Cup. He hasn't really done anything since I brought him in on that World Cup. I used a couple of games ago, and I think if he doesn't perform against Wolves, I think it's going to be time to look at other alternatives. But I'm sure against Wolves, is going to be able to perform since Wolves have been very poor defensively. But as someone was saying, it's going to be the first home game for the Wolves manager. So we will have to wait and see how that's going to plan out. But I think that Crystal Palace have too much quality for them, and I hope that Saul will be able to be involved in that, showing his quality as well. Then the final play in midfield is going to be Minte against Brentford. Of course, Brentford coming up from a huge win against Newcastle, but they looked very poor in the first half, and Bournemouth are known for flying out the block in the early start of the game. So it's going to be interesting to see how that is going to go, and I hope that Minte can be able to perform and able to get some attacking returns as well. He's been on form for Brighton. If you see his stats in the last like 4 games, he's only blanked in one of the last five or something like that. He's been very, very good, and I do hope that against the Brentford, he can be able to perform the same way. So that's the midfield, looks pretty solid, full of goals and assists, and Howard is going to be able to produce some attacking returns. So now let's look at the forward line. Now we can look at the forward line. We're going to be having Haaland in there against Newcastle. Of course, they're going to be having the robot himself scoring a hat trick or something like that in the international break. Outstanding numbers, carrying his team to the World Cup. He's been performing very, very well. I'm sure crazy numbers this season for Erling Haaland. I'm sure he's going to be looking at that Newcastle fixture, and many people are forgetting how he performed, how Newcastle performed against Brentford, and they looked very shocking defensively. They're going to be without Dan Burn as well. So I do expect Haaland to have a very, very good game against Newcastle. I'm sure he's going to be able to perform. Then we have Mateta against Wolves. Thinking about captaining Mateta just because they're playing Wolves, who have been very poor defensively, very shocking defensively. But if I'm being totally honest, the armband is just going to be on Erling Haaland. But Mateta is also the back of my mind as well against that Leaky Wolves defense. Then finishing off the team is going to be João Pedro against Burnley. I think this is going to be his last time in the team. Then we'll be switching over to Thiago from Brentford just to get a little bit of fans in. But it's been good having him. I've had him since I think game week one. He's been very, very good. A lot of points. People transferred him out a few weeks ago. I kept my faith in him. But he's returned in back-to-back games. But a little bit more points in those 2 games, but we'll take the double goals, of course. So that's the team for game 12. Then the bench, we have Dubravka against Chelsea. So maybe it's just a country between Pope and Dubravka. One of them just going to go for Pope. Then you have Timber on the bench. I think Spurs are going to score a goal. Without Gabriel in the back line, it's going to be interesting to see how Arsenal are going to perform without his presence in there. So I've gone for Timber on the bench. Then Rodon and Longstaff on the bench just because Leeds have been very, very poor and shocking as well. So that's the team for game of 12. Looks pretty solid, looks full of goals and assists, and I hope he's going to be able to perform the game week 11 scoreline of 49 and maybe get a cheeky 100 points, of course, will be very much appreciated. So that's the team for game week 12. Let me know in the comments what you think and what changes you'd make. So now let's look at some captaincy picks ahead of game week 12 as well. So these are the captaincy picks that I've gone for game week 12. I think very good options. So the first player is Mateta from Crystal Palace playing against Wolves. As I've mentioned many times in this video, Wolves have been very poor defensively. So Mateta is a very decent captaincy option in my opinion, and I'm sure he's going to have a very good game against Wolves. Then for my second captaincy option is going to be Mohamed Salah. Not a popular pick among people at the moment in their team. But I think it's time to start to consider going for a Haaland and Salah draft, maybe a wild card. I think it's a very good opportunity to do so. Maybe during the course of next week, I'm going to make a wild card draft with both Salah and Haaland in teams. But I think for Salah, very good captaincy option against Forest, who have also been very poor defensively. But we have interesting to see how that is going to go. But I think it's going to perform against Nottingham Forest. Then the last captaincy option is going to be the robot himself, Erling Haaland against Newcastle, who have shown they've been very poor defensively, conceding goals a lot. I think in the last four, they haven't kept a clean sheet, conceding goals in each of them. So Haaland is going to, I think, he's going to have a field day against Newcastle. The only slight concern is going to be away. So that's going to be a tough fixture, but I think that Haaland is still going to have a very, very decent game. Let me know down in the comments also who are you going to be captaining ahead of game week 12. For me, it's going to be either Mateta or Haaland. So that's the video for today. Team selection for game week 12. some transfer thoughts, and also some captaincy picks as well. And it's going to be another long video. If you managed to reach this far, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe with the goal to 900 subscribers before the end of the month. And I'll see you all guys later. Bye bye.